Welcome everybody to the Track Legends Sim Racing final preseason race for the GT3 series, and this is a 20-30 minute race, as well as we're here at Zandvoort for the doubleheader. I still have a couple drivers that have not made it into the server yet, so as they make their way in, the server will lag slightly just to load up their liveries, their custom liveries. As we see Josh here, we'll go on board with him as he's going to be the first driver to be going through on his hot lap.
Definitely working to find the edge of grip there. You could tell he, I wouldn't say he's got a little understeer out of that corner. It was all definitely part of the plan, but I'm expecting him to be looking to warm his tires up a little bit more and hopefully get maybe another lap or two after this one to improve his time. Seems to be off to a good start for a green track.
We already have a couple drivers off on turn one. And it looks like another driver's not doing so well through that first sector still. So we saw 137.2 was the fastest time. As he crosses the line, he'll be sporting a 138.7.
Yeah, I would definitely look for much faster times than that from both him and a few other drivers.
And we will, oh. Well, actually, we can't. I don't know. Riley Manier is one of the, oh, there he is. Yes, he does go fastest with a 137.6. The Adidas Parlay team.
Looks like he switched up the color on us between breaks. Went from a full to a silver. I like it. Yeah, he's about 4/10 off his qualifying time in the first attempt session. So I still feel like all these guys are very much able to find more pace as the minutes wind down.
Yeah, and one of the things about this though is that Riley Manier is sitting in traffic. He's got 6 cars ahead of him, and they're all going slow. And as he goes off and goes right into the barrier there, he's probably going to try to find a point in the track where he can actually just get some space. As we have Eddie Chan also went off in that as well. And this is a surprise. I haven't seen Mansilla drive in some time, so this is a fast-paced driver. But you know, it's been a while since I can remember. Where exactly does Mansilla really sit on the track?
Yeah, my racing with him has been a little limited as well. I think he does kind of squeeze in maybe in the mid-teens. I would expect tonight. Maybe even faster. Everybody kind of improves over time, and depending on which car you're the most comfortable in, and things like that, it can really make a difference.
Yeah, and little boat kid, we are in broadcast mode. After much heated debate over the basic HUD versus broadcast mode, we have settled on this voting of broadcast mode. It's got a lot more to offer for the commentators, as well as better viewpoint for the spectators. I do like it when you can see like the different revs and stuff. Oh, as he goes off onto that, maybe he was.
Might just be trying to warm his tires up in the sand.
Yeah. Barrera is another one who's a very fast-paced driver, so it'll be interesting to see where he shapes up on his qualifying as he's building a little bit of room. He has a lot of damage on his car already. So I don't know if that will affect his overall quality.
Oh, I'm sure that much damage would affect your time considerably. So maybe he's looking to go back and get a repair and come back out one more time. It's nice that it's a short track, as long as he can get out of the pit with about 2 minutes left, he'll have time to get back through and put one more lap in.
Oh, absolutely. As we see Josh go P2, pole position there with a 137.8. It's lost that a little bit. He can consider this another outlap and then try for one more. We'll see who's really coming up here. We have a 137.8 as well from Stefan Lindauer from the Southern Star Motorsports team.
Yeah, he's another quality driver as well. I think he had a lot of pace and obviously success in the Bentley last season. So I think he's looking to improve upon what he started there with a new car, which is going to be a challenge. But the Lexus is fast and he's a solid driver. So I would look for, even if his season doesn't start off right, I would look for him to continue to contend.
Yeah, he's sporting the custom Bass Pro Shops livery there. It's one of its own. I think it's SpongeBob with a Texas shape.
You got me, man.
Yeah,
it looks like SpongeBob with a star and a cowboy hat. It looks like
definitely sporting the Texas lifestyle there. As we see him going through the final corners here, hopefully you're going to see some improvement through this final corner. If they're not in that straight, 7 seconds is a long time to get through that, so yeah, not improve his time here. Yeah, he did not improve his time with the 138 lap, but he does have time for one more qualifying lap, so we'll definitely see something come out of this driver. Take a look at Barrera here and see if he's on a hot lap now.
Well, he seems to have grip. Like maybe he made it around one other time. I don't think he's going to get back to the line for another turn, so this had better be it. Got a little wide there. Could have changed up his line and saved a little bit of distance. Seemed to struggle with grip out of the pinch turn.
Oh, whoa. As he gets collected by another driver through the final turn.
Looks like it might have been Norman Chan. That's
Eddie
not good.
Chan there.
Eddie Chan. That was messy. That was unfortunate.
Yeah.
It was not.
That looked like Barrera was going to be in the top 5 with the speed he had and the time he had going through that final corner. He would have definitely pulled out a 138 flat at least, judging by the other times drivers have gone through that corner. But it looked like he had just been collected through that corner.
Yeah, he did. He did look like after the second to last turn, he kind of lost a little bit of speed. It might not have had quite the approach that he was hoping for. I don't know where Chan would have come from to be able to cause that kind of contact. I wasn't seeing him.
Half a second behind the driver, but it didn't look like he was in a position to, do damage.
It looked like his patience ran out, and now it's spoiled laps for both of them, sadly.
Yeah. as Riley Manier, who's already sitting on pole, is pushing in for final corner to get maybe a faster time out of this. We'll see. The session ended. He just pulled out a 136.6. He does go quicker.
He's up over a second. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Miles and miles. Yeah. What was he doing? We can't know for certain. But what we do know for certain on the timetables, we have Riley Manier, P1, Josh Willis, P2, Stefan Lindauer, P3, Erica Cassian, P4, Constable Cody Watson, P5, Morrison, P6, Provolone, P7, Chan, P8 and 9, Barrio, P10, Shurik, P11, Hummer, P12, Bravo, P13, Spool, P14, Orozco, 15, Romulus, 16, Barrera, 17, Mansilla, 18, and Otto, 19. We have a 3-minute waiting period before we start all of this, and it looks like we're going to be starting in the rain. That's actually really interesting. The track is already greasy. In the next 10 minutes, the rain is going to continue. So now it's with a 30-minute race, we're going to be seeing some drivers make some either smart or not so smart moves. I mean, the rain could clear up in 10 minutes, but would you still want to be stuck on dries at that point, hoping the track dissipates quickly? I have seen drivers pull off the wets for a 30-minute race despite it getting hot and the track dries quickly, but just because they maintain pace through the cold time, the wet period, they were able to maintain that distance and never change their tires. So be interesting to see. I mean, as we have a third commentator joining us.
Hello, guys. I'll be the
Miller.
trackside commentator for this evening.
Yeah. So we'll have 3 commentators for you.
So I'm a little late to the show, but it looks like we got qualies over and some greasy track conditions for race. Should be exciting.
Yeah. So with me, we have Eric Miller and Jet Engleman, aka Elroy Jetson, Space Cowboy, aka Livery Legend Jet Black, the Tennessee Tornado, and myself, Jay Alvarez, will be commentating. We'll be changing our commentary, so bear with us as we try to figure out how the best to do so. We got a couple liveries I can show you real quick. I think this is not part of your team. Eric, which one's your team?
My team is Flying Lizard. So let's see. Pickerel and Aaron Free are my teammates.
And
they not be around.
Neither one of them are on right now. So his team is not sported. So he's not going to be a biased commentator.
I have no
tonight.
bias in tonight's race.
Probably just going to have to go for another Livery Legend livery to substitute.
All right, so we will, with 45 seconds left, we'll just pull the heli cam, see what happens to that first turn. We'll jump back a couple drivers back to see everyone smooths this out. It looks like Erica Cassian and Josh Willis are part of the same GT3 team, and they're lined up on the podium spots. Well, Eric and P4, so it'll be interesting to see these drivers able to defend against some of the other drivers that are up in the top tier, as well as you got the Southern Star Motorsports also up in the top spots there. Who is that? Lindauer and who's the other driver? And Wassam? No.
Yeah, we've got Wassam.
Yep. Sorry, yeah. But the Southern Star Motorsports is Lindauer and Provolone, and then Constable Cody Wassam is part of the IDRF Motorsports. Oh, are we going to go through a full formation lap? It looks to
well, they are staying. Yeah, they are staying single file. It does look like that's the case, which on wets is probably not a bad idea. They can kind of explore the track, see where maybe grip is better and worse than they're expecting, especially when you go from optimum or I know they're a little bit green and quality, but once you get on a greasy track, all that rubber turns nice and slick. So They might also want to be looking for where puddles are forming in case it does dry out, like you said, and they're on the wets.
Well, 3 minutes has passed, and the time still shows that there's still going to be raining for the next 10, so it's cycled through a little bit, so this track's going to stay greasy for at least, a quarter of the race. Let's see what...
The track looks more damp than wet yet. It's not terrible, so we're still going to see some decent pace. I think it'll be interesting to see if all drivers chose wets or if some chose the dries.
Yeah, it's really a bet. I mean, if I was a betting man, I would go with wets. I mean, it's hands down. Maybe not like a hard setup for wets, maybe a light setup, or maybe medium, but definitely something that constitutes that you're gonna have to change to adjust for the dry if it does come to that. But changing your tires in a 30-minute race is definitely not going to be an advantage by any means.
No, probably not. You're probably really going to be stuck on the tires that you choose, and there's some things you can do to mitigate when you're on the wets, especially on fuel maps and your throttle coming out of turns, just making sure that you don't overheat them too much. And if there is enough water on the track, they're going to be looking for puddles to cool them down. But this could be a really interesting race. We do have two completely different races depending on the which compounds or which tires the drivers chose.
We get a really nice shot of these drivers forming up for the formation lap ending, and we're going to be starting very shortly as they cross this line.
I've just returned from my pit walk, and I can confirm it is indeed greasy.
Yep, green, green, green. We're going through this first corner as Constable Cody Wasson is going hard against Lindauer there. Going through this first corner. So far, it's been smooth.
Yep, little fender contact here and there, but
as one of the drivers goes off, and we have an accident in the backfield.
Looks like
it was Eric in the Porsche that went wide there. I'm not sure who was caught at the end of the field, though.
Got Lindauer putting pressure on Eric.
So we still have Riley Minier and P1.
That's actually
Josh
putting pressure on Josh.
Is
it right?
No,
is it?
No.
It's
Yeah.
Eric Akassian with Lindauer.
Eric just dove.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh. Eric just
unable
not
to
a
hold his
good.
brake
Yeah, not a.
He's going to lose a few positions from that.
Looks like Riley Minier is in P1, Josh Wilson P2, and those two are already ahead of the other pack. We'll jump on board with one of the other drivers that's getting squeezed here. So Eddie Chan's going to go 3 wide here down the middle.
This could be an interesting T1 right here. Oh, wow. That might have.
That's massive contact. Looked like he got squeezed a little bit.
It did appear that way from our camera view in his cockpit, but then again, that's always kind of the biases. It's hard to tell when.
Yeah, the perspective at hand, you're not really quite sure. As that driver is gone into the wall again.
Is this correct? Is Rudy in the pits right now?
Romulus and Bravo are in the pits.
It looks like Rudy is retired.
Very interesting.
Did he have an off?
We have a lot of drivers that are in the pits.
Yeah, I mean, it looks to me it looks like he might have bended on his own up front. If in a big way.
Well, Josh Willis is in front with a huge gap at 5 seconds behind Lindauer, Erica Cassian in P3. I will go over to the pit drivers real quick. We have Hummer in the pits, Shirk in the pits, Spool in the pits, Orozco in the pits, Romulus with a drive-through.
Must be a bunch of people who pick dries and want wets now.
Yeah, Riley Manier is in a race of his own in P12. And Shirk has a 30-second stop and go as he probably exited the pits a little too fast.
Yep, that's it. What we're seeing. It looks like we're having, a split field of wets and dries, and the guys on wets made the correct bet.
Wow.
We look at the 3 and 10 minute forecast. We see this rain's going to continue to come down, so we can only assume the track's going to continue to get wetter, and wet tires are going to be more an advantage deeper into the race.
Yeah, we'll start having water pooling up on a lot of the banked curbs here, which is going to want to.
Oh, Willis is looks like Willis is dove into the pits as well. So Lindauer's now leader of the race.
Oh my! I think a lot of these drivers have made a mistake.
Big surprise. I mean, we're seeing Eddie Chan and Eric Occasion on
Erica Cassian in P3.
Cassian. Wow, this is going to be quite the race.
I think they actually, from Raz2's in the chat saying that they pitted for dries. I think they actually pitted for wets. I think half the grid really made a mistake with these dry tires at the start of the race. I mean, we're still, 5 minutes in the race, and we have another 10 minutes of rain for sure. They must have made a mistake. And
I think I would hop into the team, talk to the team, and see if we can get some information on their tires.
Yeah, sure. As Miller drops away, Eddie Chan had some damage during that that incursion through the first through the straightaway from a couple of different drivers. That was Lindauer and Erica Cassian. So all 3 drivers in P1, 2, and 3 do have damage to their cars. Whether it's minimal or not, that's still a little bit of aero damage.
Contrary to our thought, it was actually a lot of these drivers started on wets, and the dries are ideal right now.
Really?
So it looks like the dry was the right call, and the guys that started on wets made the wrong gamble.
Well, the track is still greasy, so I wonder where the edge is for the dries so far.
Yeah, you just wonder if some guys on wets can hold it out long enough to let the track kind of develop. They might have a chance.
It's got to be noted that Erica Cassian's being pressured by Norman Chan with Eddie Chan in front of him, as well as Constable Cody Wassam taking a good consistent stride there as Eric goes wide and lets 2 by.
Yeah, according to the team, Caution's tires are just massively overheated right now.
Oh.
So it's not a surprise to see him struggling.
Yeah, so the wets were not the ideal format here. So maybe we'll see some people pushing through the field on drives.
You told me at the start of the race that Eddie and Norman Chan would be leading. I would probably flip the table, but it's good to see.
I would not believe you. And it's no knock to these drivers. They're very good drivers.
No, not at all.
But this is the I don't know.
This is what makes variable weather such an interesting part of racing.
Yeah, because you think rain, even light rain with a greasy track, you'd still want to go with wets, but
and now we see the minus on the rain, so it looks like the rain is going to be decreasing, and the guys on dries are going to be paid off.
Wow, yeah. It does not look like the wets were the benefit that Jet and I were talking about before this race started. So you only hope that they can last another 22 minutes in the positions that they're in. And we'll go on board with some other drivers here.
What it comes down to is that when the track isn't really wet enough to create any standing water, the compound is still going to be superior. There's actually more surface traction on a slick.
You can see Gakasian's kind of holding his own, but he's slipping a little bit, where could be the heat of the tires, where Barrera's just holding a consistent line here. This may be the difference between wets and dries that you're seeing right now on the track, as the driver ahead is still on wets, and Jorge Barrera actually pitted for the dries.
The Barrera is on dries.
I believe so. He was one of the drivers that went into the pits.
Okay, yep. You can only... Like Eric is just delaying the inevitable here.
He really is, but he's holding up a great defense while he's trying to.
You know, I'll be thankful that though is Mansilla. He's starting to make some ground on them in the behind, 7th place. Oh, and Eric dives into the pits.
Yep. And we'll pull away as we see Riley Menier was in P12, now in P8. So his race is going to continue here as Josh Willis is behind him by 8 seconds. Santiago Orozco is in P18 in the middle there.
Now you start to wonder, though, what tires these guys in front are on now.
For sure, the drivers that have not pitted are on the wets, and we'll see them start moving into the pits if they indeed do so. But the drivers that did pit, that were in pole position, were Riley Menier and Josh Willis, as well as Jorge Barilla, and I believe Mansilla also pitted as well. So we have a very split pack, as Lindauer also pitted, and he was in the lead there. We'll go over to that group of guys that are fighting right now. This is for 13, 14, and 15. As we have Spool,
Yep.
Borio,
Provolone took a look at Boro.
Yeah, Banff, Healer, everyone's
Provolone's
running
all
out.
over the back of that Mercedes.
Yeah. Most people here are in custom liveries. Just to answer the chat, as Barrio goes wide there.
Quite the battle here.
Provolone's a fast driver. He's sometimes
And Boro loses the rear end.
Yeah.
I think what happened is he got stuck up behind the Porsche and probably got a little heavy on the brakes. Just lost the rear end as he braked mid-turn, trying to avoid tapping that Porsche. Looks like Spool might be just a little off the pace here.
I believe so, and we're just going to pull away to our 4 race leaders.
We got a nice little pack up here with the 2 Chan brothers and Wassam.
Yeah, and Morrison.
Just split
right
by a
behind
second.
him.
Yep, and Morrison right there. I think this is where the experience of Wassam and Morrison is going to come into play.
Yeah, Wassam is a consistent driver. He doesn't
Exactly.
want to try to overtake unnecessarily. He might be just trying to keep his tires cool. If he is on the wets, he's definitely going to try to keep his tires cool and not try to make any rash movements.
And then over a single lap, I'd say Morrison is one of the quickest drivers in the league. It's just a matter of if he can maintain that consistency.
He was put in his driver bio. He was really proud of you saying such a comment about him.
Phew.
So if you compare this order to the start of the race, things have mixed up quite a bit.
In a massive turnabout, it just almost seems like qualifying was not even the answer there, because everybody that was in the qualifying session has now...
It really came down to tire
track.
choice.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that this front pack of 4 is on dry tires.
Well,
They seem to be driving pretty consistently. Their pace is solid, and they don't seem to be struggling with an overheating issue. You would notice that from their cornering.
So Eddie Chan is leading the race right now, but his best time is a 1:41.3, and his last was a 1:40. And you have Norman Chan at a best of 1:40.1. His last was a 1:45.5. And Constable Cody Wasson in the same league there with a 1:40.3, last of a 1:48. Same with Matt Morrison, 1:49, and the last of a 1:49 as well. So their pace is all evenly put out there, but the real question is where's Barrera here? We got a 1:43 flat from Jorge Barrera in P5.
You gotta keep an eye on that gap to Rudy as well.
Yeah, this gap right here is
or Riley Menier.
Riley Menier with a 1:38.9, so he's already 2 seconds ahead of the drivers ahead of him, and was pole position P1, and Josh Willis, who was in P2, also 1:39.8. So these drivers are actually driving faster than those lead cars there. So we'll definitely see some things shake up from the front pack. There was still 18 or 16 minutes to go. And I don't know much about Norman and Eddie Chan, but are they a part of the same GT3 league team?
They will be, yes. They're going to be teammates, I believe, in GT4 and GT3.
Well, so then they're probably just racing their, to defend each other right now. It's all team orders from Hamilton and Bottas in P1 and 2.
It doesn't look like they have to try too hard right now, though.
They're actually starting to pull away from Wasson slightly. And it looks like Morrison's also dropped off a bit as well.
Morrison has, but this rain was supposed to decrease, but we're still seeing a lot of it kind of pour out on the track.
Yeah, the track still maintains to be greasy. It hasn't really pulled up anywhere yet, so the dry tires continue to work.
We are halfway through, not over yet.
Halfway through this race, we still have the race leads. As we'll pull away from them, as they're pretty consistent. Take a look at the rest of the track here and see where they're at. I mean, that's 20 seconds. Barrera has 20 seconds to go from P4. That's a huge split.
Yeah, and I think he's actually not really gaining on them at this point.
No, and that's Raza there. That's
You'll start to see Riley Menier appear in the background. Raza is unlapping himself, it appears.
Yeah, that's
attempting to.
But it looks like Riley Menier was able to catch up to Barrera with only a 2.5 second split. And it'll be interesting to see on board where he's actually going to finish up on this final straight. See where his lap times are. Is he improving? He's just 0.2 off his best time. So he's truly maintaining his spot. And we'll just continue to go down the backfield here. So we have Josh Wills kind of in a battle of his own. It's 12 seconds off of 6th. Lindauer's 12 seconds behind him.
Let's check back in that backfield battle with Provolone. I think that was really heating up. I'm not sure where they're at now.
Yeah. It's like
looks like he's made it past Spool, and he's about 3.5 seconds off Hummer, and actually I think he's closing that gap slightly, so we might see him chase down 11th place soon.
Yeah, and just to quickly take a look, he's best of 140.5. Last was a 142.1, but Trev Hummer was a 141.2.
Yeah,
his best was a 141. He's definitely going to be able to pull closer to Trev Hummer there. As Provolone,
and at the same time, it looks like Trev is catching Eric up ahead of him, so we might see a 3-car battle developing by the end of this race.
It's possible. Eric's consistency his last was still a pretty good pace. A second and a half above Hummer.
It was a solid lap.
Ooh, what's that going on over there? Well, oh, this is still the.
It's still Raza, just kind of in an awkward position of being quicker than Barrera, but a lap behind.
And Riley Menier has taken P5 from
Barrera. Now the question is, can Riley make a 20-second gap in 12 minutes?
It's possible as Raza dives down the inside.
Unlaps himself.
Provolone top 10. Well, let's take a look here. We have Constable Cody Wassam still holding P3 with Morrison only a 0.8 second gap on him, so Morrison definitely closed the gap there. And the Chains are still holding ahead.
Yeah, they seem to have just the pace they need right now. I think it's, you know, the drivers are battling the track as much as they're battling each other,
It looks like Morrison might have made Watson might have made a mistake because Morrison is right on his bumper now, or not his bumper, but within a second, and before there's about a 3-second gap.
Yeah, it could be better pace from Morrison too. We could be looking at a pace closer to Willis and Manier from Morrison, and I also think that you know, the math is telling me that Manier is not going to be able to make it up in the 12 minutes, sadly. But you never know how things can change in a wet race, especially as drivers start seeing the time tick down and get a little desperate.
And just going back to the weather there, we do see that minus sign has lifted, so the rain is going to continue and it's not going to lighten up anymore. The track is still greasy, but maybe we'll see some different action occur for these wet tires. And just gonna start trying to go through the field here and try to take a look and see where anyone's at that's got some times. We got Provolone making up that time. He's within 2 seconds from Trev Hummer there. One thing I stated during the preseason on another stream is that the Southern Star Motorsports is no joke. You got Lindauer, Provolone, and Cass Lassie, and these drivers are pretty fast. They have made it to the top 10 in qualifying numerous times together. So as a team, they're going to be a hard contentious to beat as far as, you know, team orders go.
Yeah, and it helps that they're in a great car, and they're a great group of guys that I think they're going to get along well, and definitely the type of guys who are going to give each other tips and be real teammates. So I really feel like they could be a strong contender for the team title.
It should be noted that a lot of the drivers have only been able to pace out at a 150.
Yeah, it looks like we have the Chamber that's coming up on lap traffic now, actually, so we might see something.
Yeah, that's Spool who they're passing.
Yeah, Norm goes around the outside, around Spool.
Oh, and
Morrison's really starting to make an attack on Wassam.
Go on board with this and see if anything pans out. But these drivers aren't pulling under 140s. We only have Josh Willis and Riley Manier that are the only drivers that are pulling off 138s. And the way it's going, with the amount of time they have left, there's absolutely no way they're going to be able to.
Yeah, I think Willis is probably going to be overtaking Barrera, or at least attempting to. But I don't, as Jet said, the math just doesn't check out. They're not able to make that gap up in the time allowed.
Josh Willis and Barrera have about 3 seconds off each other right now. So it'll be interesting. He might be able to make it out in the next 8 minutes.
Yeah, Wassam seems to be struggling with grip and stability kind of mid-turn. It'll be interesting to see if Morrison's able to take advantage of that and get around it. Definitely going to take the time over the next few minutes to study him.
Is there a bumper cam?
Front bumper?
Only because since this track is light right-handers, the car gets obscured by that visor.
Are you talking about this, Jim?
Yeah.
Just doesn't really show what's going on the inside, though, and that's.
Yeah, just that car was hiding behind that like that visor or whatever is inside of the Porsche.
Yeah.
I do think that camera shows the battle well.
I mean, if you're really going to get at a battle, you probably want to go with like I don't actually have the camera. I thought I did. I can't.
Always go to the classic exterior view. Is that gap is still 0.4 seconds?
As we see a driver in the pits right now, I wonder if he's called it quits. Didn't mean to run that.
Nope. A little wiggle from Morrison, and Wasm gains 3/10.
Okay, and so the chance. They're still holding out. Try to go to see if Josh is gaining anything right here. 'Cause it looks like
Yeah, I think this is really the Chan's race. You know, they have their race to decide.
Ooh,
They have to maybe be consistent. They'll be sitting in the top steps of the podium.
here we go. Josh takes the inside. He clears Barrera through that.
I have to say it's really good to see a strong race from the Chans. Being new drivers to the league, it's encouraging to see everybody kind of have their chances at podiums and to be able to race alongside people that you know are new to the server. I'm really excited.
Yes. Speaking of that, we have Bravo running in the top 10. Barrera in 7th.
Provolone is still in 12th with a 2.5 second gap from his auto lets Provolone by. You thought that gap was actually a little bit closer, but he has not been able to close in on Hummer at all. And Cassian's still holding strong
Yeah,
at
it's
P10.
still creeping down though. I mean, there's 5 minutes left. Just looking at the relative, I think there's going to be a chance he can make a move by the end of the race. And it's a good chance Hummer encounters some traffic, so that can mix things up as well.
Yeah, as he has Santiago Orozco ahead of him. It's quite possible we'll see something happen there.
Yeah, but Eric Gukashin has definitely extended that lead, so he looks to be holding on to that 10th place pretty well.
Yeah, he's got about 5 seconds off of P11 and 4.5 second gap off P9. I think he's in a race of his own. He just needs to stay consistent. He's definitely going to be able to hold that. You see,
So I guess the real question is, are the Chan brothers going to fight for it, or are they just going to accept their positions as they are? Because they're one of the closest relatives on the grid right now, on the field.
I mean, if they're teammates, they're probably, and they know each other.
But also, it's a preseason, and they might not have team orders at this point.
Yeah.
They're also a pretty decent gap, though. I mean, about a second, so it's not really a tight battle yet.
Oh, as we say that, Eddie goes wide. He's able to
he's not even holding
no.
it. Oh, that is unfortunate for Eddie. As 2 drivers go by,
Wasm,
Raza, and Morrison's going to be able to have a shot at this.
The curse of the commentator strikes, I suppose.
I don't know if it was the commentator on this one. We'll pull over to a driver view here and see if he's going to slide. Yep, he's going to slide in on that inside and take that. As
always a little to the narrow into the inside. Let's see. Not happy about that move.
Yeah, even Spool was able to pull by Eddie Chan there.
Yeah.
As we now see Jed Engleman's teammate, P2. With 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock. Consistency is where it goes. And Jed did say
it shows you that you can
Cody was
27 minutes of good racing and 1 mistake. That's all it takes.
Yep, that's consistent Cody right there.
Also, props to Norm as well. He's still maintained his consistency as well up there.
But you also have Morrison, who's only half a second off of Constable Cody Wassum's time, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Spool
also
give up the spot.
Yeah, I really hope Spool will let Eddie Chan get back into this battle for 3rd place, because I think he has something to say.
Looks like maybe a little bit of latency from
There
the
we go.
driver. And he's letting him by.
Neither driver loses much time there. Works out well. I really think that Eddie Chan has more pace than the two drivers ahead of him, actually, because they were really coasting for most of this race.
Mm-hmm. As Santiago Orozco lets both drivers by. All three drivers are now past P1, 2, and 3 have passed the traffic.
Ooh, unfortunately, looks like Eddie might get held up by him in that turn.
Ooh, let's take a look here.
Yeah, so Eddie's able to make a pass, but that definitely cost him a little bit.
And someone said con todo bravo, so let's go take a look at where some other drivers are at here. Josh Willis is still...
Actually, Bravo just got overtaken by Eric Caution. So unfortunately, we just missed that pass. If you were paying attention to this battle of the top four.
He's
But Bravo's still in the
P10?
top 10, and looks like he's gonna hold on to it. He's got a
there it
4.5
is.
second gap.
This is what we
And
were
there was the
waiting
battle.
for.
Yes.
Problem with 45 seconds
But at the
left on
same time, we
track.
can't forget about this battle up front because we have Morrison and they're closer here. Keep an eye on the relative.
There it is. That's very calculated to go on that inside.
Takes it. Finds grip.
Jace Provolone of the Southern Star Motorsports takes a nice overtake over Travis Hummer there. And we will pull back to a track cam.
I think he'll manage to hold on to this.
Yep.
Now let's see, as the leaders cross the line in time to start, or this will be the final lap.
This will be the final lap, I believe.
Yep.
Waving green right now. And Norman Chan, the unlikely
victor, but
yeah.
I mean, well deserved. He's driven a very
Quite a-
consistently clean race.
Yeah, and he was smart.
Clearly
about
made the
his
right
tires.
strategy call in the beginning.
Yep, and consistency.
There you go, Norman Chan, P1. Constable Cody Watson, P2. And Morrison, P3. Eddie Chan goes P4. We have some other drivers that have finished, as we have Riley Manier in P5, who started pole position, P1. And Josh Willis rounding the corner for P6. That'll be Barrera, P7, Lindauer, P8. As soon as we get an official line cross. Couple drivers still going towards the end there. So we have the backpack that's probably above P13 onward is about to be finishing this race here. As Eric Akasian goes straight into a wall and loses it.
Mistake on the
It's gonna
final
be
lap.
Bravo is going to be passing him through this corner. Oh,
Bravo lifts. Worried about Eric, I guess. Really could have taken that. I guess he just was worried Eric might come into him and just hesitated, and Eric was able to hold on to the lead. So he takes 9th place.
Yep. Bravo takes P10.
Really would have loved to see one more lap there now.
P11, yeah. This glad it ended there. Trav Hummer in P13.
Quite the grid at the final.
Jerry Shurik in P14. Oh yeah, I guess Primus did not.
Were you able to save this replay?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I suppose we could see what some drivers have to say. Might have some interesting stories here.
Yeah, let's pull some drivers, and I will go to the replay here. And we got a free practice, 10 minutes. We'll be talking to the drivers through this. Just gonna bounce out to go to the replay while we get some of the drivers. Joe, how do you feel about that race?
It's just goes to show it's the statistic of anytime you have a wet race, it's up for grabs, and we saw it between tire strategy and just on track mistakes and people getting held up, and it was some good action for the conditions.
And I guess what we should really see right here is what really happened. Right off the bat, we have Josh Willis still in P1, Lindauer P2, Capacity in 3. We had Eddie Chan, Constable Cody Wasson, and Norman Chan all up in the top grid here. But at some point,
Was who had a great result. I guess you decided to start on the dry tire. It looks like, right, Was?
Yeah, I saw it was greasy, and I could hear everybody else. We were all in the group chat together. Everybody else was saying they were going to go on wets, and I was like, well, I'll roll the dice here and see how it plays out. And worked out pretty good, but it was just something I was trying to keep in mind was quite a few people around me had the wets on, so that ended up being a bad call. I was trying to keep patient around them, even if I did have the pace on them, because I knew they wouldn't quite have the grip I did. So just had to be patient the first few laps until everybody pitted and things kind of settled down.
Yeah, it looks like you were able to keep it pretty much clean that entire race.
yeah, starting from
Stay out of trouble.
sort of lap 5 is when you got to P3, and you just held that until you were able to squeeze out that P2 spot. It's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, Morrison was laying the pressure on me.
I was gonna say he was hanging around your bumper for most of the race.
Yeah, he was about a second on me, second behind me the whole race. I thought there for a little bit, I thought I could have a chance at running down Eddie and Norm, but I just couldn't really. I struggled to get the tires working and could never really follow them out of the final turn very close. But so they started pulling a gap, and after that, it was kind of just maintaining position.
So it happened on lap 16 where you were P3, and one of the chains went off wide. Did you feel like you reacted well to that? Because, I mean, that driver went straight into a wall almost.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I don't know what happened to him, but I know I struggled quite a bit there a few laps. I don't know if it was my brake bias or just the tires. I couldn't get heat in the tires, but I kind of ran wide a couple times in that same turn. And so I was having to really brake pretty early going into that turn. And I guess, I mean, I don't know what happened exactly, but I'm guessing he just went too deep one time
Yeah,
and
so
ran on the grass. And
he actually went into
yeah,
the dirt there.
yeah, it was a
Yeah.
pretty hairy
people be-
situation because I know he went off and was rejoining right as I was coming up on a back marker, so I was kind of trying to thread the needle between both of them. And but I think it was clean there for everybody for the most part. And
Yeah, I mean, Eddie might have a few words about Morrison's pass, but aside from that, it looked like a great race for you
yeah,
guys.
I saw a car come shooting up in my radar going into the chicane.
Yeah,
It was
we'll
kind
definitely
of spooky. I was like, oh,
hear from those drivers shortly.
yeah.
But all in all, awesome, great race. Way to
Yeah,
hold
great
out
race,
there for a
Wassel.
P2.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, it seems to be somewhere around this location when Morrison was.
All right, we're joined by Norm. First off, fantastic race. I mean,
We
do you
this kind
expect
of
to get a
early?
big win there?
No, not really. I've never won before. First time winning.
You know,
Perhaps.
the preseason race, but that was still a great race to watch. You and Eddie were pretty much consistent for the entire race until the very end.
Yeah, it came down to just the tire strategy, and ultimately that's what won us the race rather than the pace itself.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie, we here as well?
Eddie's in the background, yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like, I mean, you guys, well, 2 of 4 drivers that started on dry tires, and it looks like that really paid off.
Yeah, I think who else started on drive? Watson and I'm guessing Morrison.
Yep. And so pretty much that was the game changer right there.
Yeah.
But you still guys did a great job just running consistently and pulling a gap out. And Watson and Morrison were both good drivers as well. So you guys had great pace there.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Zandvoort's
You got a good win and a tough grid, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
Normal. The one thing I wanted to add is so you and Eddie, you guys were near each other. Were you guys following any team orders to like keep defense on anybody that was getting close to you, or did you have any strategy
really.
at all?
Not really. Eddie actually had I think about 19 seconds of damage, and he was actually outpacing me the whole race until he made that mistake at the end. So it was really just.
Oh wow, he was carrying damage that whole race.
Yep.
Oh, really impressive.
So besides that mistake at the end, we were just trying to push the whole race, and that's what happened.
Well, you guys played a smart strategy, and it worked out. I hope to see what you guys do in the 60-minute race coming to it. It was a great race.
Yeah, we'll see if I survive.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you. Going by Matt. Finished P3. So, first off, great race. Good strategy call.
Oh yeah.
How was that battle with the Wassemal race?
We were just talking about it. It was actually it was really fun. It seems like first sector he was faster than me. Middle sector we were pretty close. There's that one section just past like the downhill right-hander. There's that little gap. It's the 2 right hands in a row. Yeah. And I would catch him a couple tenths each time through there. And he was saying because he didn't have his pressure set right, so he was every time he went in that corner, he would have to baby it to back up the corner, and I'd catch him, and I'm like, oh, this is my spot, this is where I'm going to get him, and I was just never that close enough to get by him.
So we're watching back the pass, the aggressive pass for P3. What do you think Eddie's going to say about this?
I think he turned in on me.
Oh man.
So if looking from our replay, it looked like you had the inside, but you didn't end up turning far enough over. And
braked a little bit later than normal because I wanted to get by him because me and Watson were racing so well. And I was like, crap, I don't want someone to get in between us. And Spool was on the outside. He was a lap car and he was giving us so much room. So I was like, I'm gonna shoot the gap. And he's been kind of aggressive with me this entire preseason thing. So when I got to that corner, I'm like, I'm just gonna squeeze. Hit the curb a little bit too much on the inside, so that kind of shot me. But yeah, he's done it to me. I don't know how many times during the preseason thing. So I'm like, I'm just gonna return the favor real quick.
Well, only preseason race, so I don't have any stewards to change anything. But
it was aggressive,
but a great win for yourself.
Well.
You got P3. It's a great consistency. I thought you were gonna, pull something off on Watson, but it wasn't. You weren't able to do so, but it's still a great race. I mean, P3, you got to be celebrating that with all these drivers on the lineup that are pretty strong.
Yeah. What was the deciding factor going dries in the beginning?
Well, yeah, everyone was talking about doing wets, and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like if it's greasy, I'm just gonna roll the dice and stick with the dries. And everyone, my tires never got to temperature. They were so cold that entire race. My gym.
So I guess to answer the question, a cold dry is better than a hot wet. We've learned.
I would say, because I mean, you might be a little bit faster at the start, but you're going to burn your tires up so fast that you're just going to be dead in the water.
Yep. Well, great race.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, boys.
Yep.
Good call.
And are we? Is that it for the interviews, or did you want to?
Maybe we should talk to. Who's our pole sitter? Was that Riley?
That's Riley Manier, yeah.
Yeah, I think we should talk to Riley.
Team Adidas Parlay.
Hey, Riley.
See where
What's up?
So obviously not the result you wanted, but you qualified pole, but looks like the tire strategy for a lot of drivers just didn't pay out.
Yeah, it was poor decisions made, hoping to rebound this next race. I think I have a good chance at it. So hopefully things will go my way next time, and I won't be going onto wet tires on a greasy track.
Yeah, still an impressive recovery, all things considered. had to fight through a lot of traffic and still able to get pretty much the best possible outcome based on the length of the race, and the 4 drivers ahead of you all started on dries.
Yeah, I wasn't catching Was or Morrison.
Yeah,
I mean, I was catching
had
them
that been a
per lap.
60-minute race, things would have changed, I think. But yeah, the 30-minute race, there just wasn't enough time on the table for you.
Yeah, definitely just didn't work out for me, but that's okay.
Yeah, but I think you have pace and strong qualifying in the next race, and you're in a good spot. So, good luck.
Thanks, appreciate it, guys.
All right. We don't know where we're at on the main time, so I'll jump back into the.
I think we
track
should
and-
still be in practice. We're at 8:44. Yeah. All in all, though, guys, a really, really fun race to watch. Didn't expect that result at all.
Absolutely
And it made
not.
for
No.
really fun watch. So, looking
Certainly
forward to the
wasn't
60-minute
afraid.
race now.
Green light.
Yes, and
Good
we
luck.
will be going into qualifying. Well, look at that. We're 30. With 30 seconds to spare, we are jumping straight into qualifying here as we'll pull aboard on
A
the
new
on
day
track.
brings new weather and dry conditions.
We do have Erica
Oh,
Cassie in
and I
this,
spoke too soon. As I say that, the rain is coming.
and it is heavy damp as we got that. I'm gonna
That was
stick on
loading. It must have
Riley
loaded in a
Manier
little
for
late.
a second. As you guys want to continue commentating, I'll just take a brief step away. Okay.
Yep, sounds good. So the rain continues in Zandvoort. Now the question is, we had a greasy race, race 1. If we have a damp race, race 2,
Well, I
I
feel
think
like a
the
lot of
strategy call might be even more divisive.
yes, but I do feel like if the track stays the same between qualifying and racing, that drivers will probably have it well figured out. They're probably going to want to get out there on a couple of compounds
Yeah.
and see which one.
In that hour gap, though, things can change quite a bit.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, it would indicate it to us in some way, whether it's saying it's more rain or if the track is wet, not just damp. But it might, this could be one of those moments where either one could
Also,
work, but
we're
still
going to
have some pace.
see the drivers going out early, probably putting down the best laps of the session. If somebody did get out of the pits quickly and gets held up, they're going to have trouble because I think the track's only going to get slower as we go into the session.
Yeah, it depends. As long as if it keeps collecting more water and going from damp to wet,
Just
where
judging
it's
that off that little, we get that plus at 3 minutes, and I see we're switching about from light rain to medium rain.
Yeah, you
So-
can see in this shot here, puddles are starting to form. There's little wet spots down the straight, so it's puddles are going to be forming even more so, and areas such as those banked the high camber turns, the water's going to be collecting down towards the apex, so drivers are going to want to take a safer line. I would not touch that curb. I wouldn't have done that, but he's faster than me, so what can I say?
Faster and braver. So yeah, we're Riley Manier should be completing it on his first qualifying lap, I believe.
Where do we have?
Yeah, I
him
would
on the
imagine he
onboard?
probably spent a considerable amount of time tweaking his setup before going out, seeing what's working best.
The track is damp. Can't
Yes,
see
and rain
his,
is only increasing, so it's really gonna be a rush to see who can get a lap in while the track is at its best.
Right now we can see his relatives are 125 going through this corner, so we'll still see a pretty strong lap from him qualifying. He's always a strong qualifier, usually P1, P2.
All of the track and then some on exit. And provisional P1, 140.3. We know that in greasy conditions they were getting 139s, but 140.3 in damp conditions should be a pretty strong lap.
143 for
In judging
Josh
by the
Willis.
lap times, Willis and Morrison behind Riley, that's a very strong lap.
He is switching up his settings right now while he is sitting in the pits, but he is one of those drivers that you're going to want to see hit to the
I'm gonna go
starting lineup.
the team, talk to the team and see what we can spend from these tires are running right now qualifying.
Yeah. Just an hour ago, Wagwan GG. Sorry about that. Thank you for the follow. It was about an hour ago. I didn't see that pop up. But Expert Sphere as well, 2 minutes ago. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Track Legend Sim Racing. Got Jet Black, Tennessee Tornado here with me. And Eric.
I like that short form. That works better.
Probably. And Ali Raza. He was
there. We had Willis and Morrison on dry tires, Riley on the wet tire. So at these conditions, a wet tire is ideal.
Yeah, and its rain's only going to increase as we see on that plus scale in the weather up there on the top. I will say Ali Raza was one of those drivers that had a little bit of inconsistency on the last race that we saw him on the GT4 series on Thursday, but he is a fast-paced driver, and he can stay inside a pack if he's there. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. As he's already pulled off a 142.0.
Riley might have been the only driver to go on wets. I think a lot of the drivers had their last race in mind.
It's tough though. I mean, from
the
our
track
view,
quickly got
we're-
wet. The rain increases. They got out in their out lap, and by the time they were running a qualifying lap, it was too wet for the dry tires.
And it looks like the what's that, Jeff?
Smoke marks are turning into water spray, so we're definitely doing wets.
Oh, and it's going to be increasing even heavier. So
yeah, we're not going to see improved times here.
There's a good chance we're going to see a wet race. I just judging by the increase in rain and time scale.
Take a look at Josh Willis as he's coming through the final corner.
He is now on wet tires, so we can see the difference. We had a 143.4 on the dry tires.
Oh, he's on an out lap, so. Guys, you're going to be able to see this in a second. I'm going to tab open the qualifying times we have so far on qualifying. We got Riley Manier in P1, then Raza, like I said, P2.
Yeah, I think Riley made the right call, got out early on wet tires, was able to set on a lap while the track was pretty much at its best for wet tires. And now everybody else is going to struggle to match that. I think we might not even see anybody else get to the 140s at all.
Yeah, you're really looking at people pulling 143s, 144s as we see Josh Willis is at the 143 range, and he's only P8.
Yes.
And the Chans, who were in the lead for most of that race last, are in P7 and 10.
Got Raza with another 142.5.
Wow.
See where Wills can set down here in a few rounds of
Go
penultimate
on
turn.
board in this turn. He's got really good pace right now going through this final turn.
.2. That's impressive considering the increase in water on the track. I think that's going to be good enough to hold on to P2.
You see the nearest driver is still a second off of his
Lindauer,
time.
strong lap, 42 flat.
Holding P3.
Eric Ukashin, 42.1. We got a strong field right now, and we have a lot of close lap times.
Looks like Southern Star Motorsports is
And we can see the rain increasing further into the distance, so this might be a wet race.
Don't know if Trav's being held up by traffic, but Constable Cody Wasson is on his hot lap, as well as Trav Hummer is. Holding a little bit of pace there. You usually try to build a gap from another driver, but maybe he's trying to build a little toe off of
Yeah, I
him.
think Wassum's not going to appreciate this. But
Yeah.
if he's on his flying lap and Trev's on his flying lap, I mean, what can they do? Guess you could say Trev should have started a little farther back.
Yeah. Just held it back slightly on this one. As you don't want to really focus on a driver that's behind you on your.
They might be on
early
out laps
end.
trying to get to the line in time even.
Absolutely not. His last lap was an out lap on for Cowboy
Okay.
Awesome, so he is trying to go his best right now. As he just gives up.
It's you
Thought it
hate
was
to
gonna
see it.
improve.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like some
You do
bets
hate to
you
see it.
haven't. You hate to see it.
Qualifying has ended. We're just seeing some drivers still trying to pull out a last lap here. So,
We should note it is an interesting note that the next race will be 60 minutes, where obviously we've got twice the amount of time to settle in and find your car and find your pace, and so it's just as much anybody's bag as the last race, even with the conditions getting even crazier.
Yeah, especially we could also see a race starting wet and going dry, which could force a tire change.
that is something you don't see often, but we'll just pan away from that.
The horror.
Yeah, the track is still damp. It's only going to get worse with time goes on. You got Morrison
Seeing
coming
some
through.
pluses in the 3 and 10 minutes. So,
and we should keep in mind that during our season races, as well as this preseason race, there is a mandatory pit. These drivers will have to make a pit stop, whether they don't have to. All they have to do is lift up their car, so lift up and take off. So they don't need to change tires or add fuel, but there will be a mandatory pit for all drivers on the track, where they will be disqualified. And we didn't see much shakeup in the overall in that qualifying. So Minier P1, Josh Willis P2, Morrison P3, Lindauer P4, Raza P5, Cassian P6. It's a great spot for Cassian. He's really finding his pace with that Porsche. And then we have Borio P7, Chan, Eddie Chan's P8, Jason Provolone P9, Wasson P10, Hummer P11, Chan P12, Bravo P13, Shurik P14, Barrera P15, Otto 16, Orozco 17. And look at that. Mike Burkhoff's joining the battle here. And the Mercedes AMG, that driver is one to be surprised about. He's going to start in the backfield.
He is a very fast driver, and when he's on his game, it's hard to stay consistent and not let him in your head when he's behind you, and it's hard to catch him when he's in front of you. So it'll be interesting to see how he can get through the pack and where he'll land and settle in.
So another thing to note is that the track is still wet, but the conditions haven't changed, which means we're not going to see any heavier conditions so far in the next 10 minutes, but it still is wet. So going wet tires is the bet right now, but we just don't know with 60 minutes on the clock whether or not they should switch.
Well, I think some of the drivers are going to be looking to time their pit stop to maybe do as little damage as possible if they want to switch. It should dry out.
Checking in from the pit wall, the team's just a little bit of pandemonium because I see teams going back and forth in tire choices, and really, it's anyone's guess what this weather's going to develop in the next 20 minutes or so. We see that the rain is heavy right now, but is decreasing.
It is.
So the question
it's steadying off.
someone...
It's not really decreasing. It's just steadying off at wet, or at the rain limit that we're already at.
Yeah, but we can sometimes infer that might mean that the rain is leaving after that.
It's quite possible. With a minute and 18 seconds,
I think the wet tire is still gonna be really mandatory for the start, but the question is who can time their pit to dries if the race does develop that way.
I would agree. I think that we're not in greasy spot right now, so it's not like the last race. Wet tires are optimal for what we're dealing with. So
wait,
you see on the 10-minute cloud? That 10-minute cloud looks like it's a
That's
little
what-
bit lighter.
That's what I was referring to. Yes. So I think that it could see a wet to dry race, and the question is when will it happen and who can time it correctly? Because it looks like everybody in their sane mind should start on wet tires for this race.
As we see, Mike Burkhoff and Borio are two drivers on the same team that are going to be P7 and in last place on P19. So he's got a teammate, but he's all the way in the back of the
Burkhoff
pack.
might have been a late join to the race.
He was a late join to the race. He
didn't
literally
qualify.
joined.
Okay.
He did not qualify. So,
Okay, so then we're going to be looking at Burkhoff to move through this pack most likely.
Oh, and in the wets, I believe we're going to be seeing some interesting dynamics from Burkhoff's perspective.
Yeah,
Although we're going to be on a full formation lap. Am I not correct on that?
Yes, full formation.
Okay.
And there's going to be action up and down the grid at the start.
You can see the Tracklicious logo is attached to the majority of the drivers here on their liveries. We all part of the Tracklicious Sim Racing League. Got it sported somewhere. And Ali Raz is new. Yeah, Ali Raz is new to the server as well. So
yeah, he's new. Solid 5th place. Boiro,
yeah, we saw it in
well.
the Porsche Cup the other night. Miller Raza had good qualifying, but I think he struggled a little bit with consistency in the race and kind of saw himself losing a few positions. So maybe he's looking to right that ship this time and stick with a good strategy now that he knows he needs wets and can get off to a good start. It'd be good to see a nice consistent stint from him.
Yeah, and the Lexus is a more forgiving car, so that will help him as well.
Just so the audience at home can know that this is just a full formation lap before we start the actual race.
And we see in the 10-minute now, we see a minus on the rain as well, so we'll see even a further decrease in the rain in 10 minutes.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting if we see it goes to dry or like greasy track, but then switches back up to wets. Maybe you see some of those drivers just try to ride out those wets, and then it pays off for them. We won't know until we get further along here.
Yeah, it does look pretty saturated, and there'll become a point in the race where after you pit, even turning back to dries, if it does start drying out, just would be too much of a time factor. And so drivers are going to be looking at how the track dries and where it dries, and if they're on wets late enough, they're going to be looking for puddles to cool them down.
I think once again we're going to see a mix. This will mix the grid up a little bit. We'll see some strategy calls that pay off. We'll see some strategy calls that burn them. So this can be a pretty exciting race.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is you got to pit. It's a mandatory pit, so whoever pits first, it may pay out for them. I know it pays out for me usually when I pit first.
That's the one thing to consider about the mandatory pit is that even though you're going to take that 30-second time for the tire switch, everybody's pitting, so you're not losing the entire pit. You're not losing time going into the pits as well.
Yeah, just 30
seconds. Yeah, I mean,
seconds.
the forecast does this very easily at this rate. It's looking like it's shaping up that it could be a wet to dry if that fall off in the precipitation continues. So
I'm rubbing my hands in anticipation because that makes this race more exciting.
Yeah, but just in typical Dutch fashion, it's 26 degrees out on the track, and it's raining. I mean, I've been in the Netherlands during this time, and it's not even a bother. Like the rain's not even. It doesn't make you cold. It's actually just annoying.
The pit is now open.
Oh,
yeah, we can see.
Okay.
And judging by the weather, that means it could get really warm if the rain stops.
we might have had up to 4 wide there.
You see,
Morrison's able to hold the inside ahead of Lindauer.
clean so far through these corners.
Riley already starts to pull out a bit of a gap. But
really
looks these. So we have 2 drivers in the backfield involved in an incident.
Yeah, we have Borio and Hummer. We have Burkhoff already pulling away and gaining some ground here. No longer in last place.
He's picked up 2 spots at the start, and now he goes for a move on, or or 3 spots, and now he's going to be up 4 spots.
Like I said, Burkhoff's one of those drivers. It's great to watch him.
Great
'cause
opening lap. Yep.
He's clean at passing.
Drive through for Provolone, so he must have had to avoid something and gone off track. That's really unfortunate. That's gonna hurt his race really badly.
From Ollie Ross's perspective, we have Lindauer and Morrison going at it. As Lindauer's going to be able to hold that. Oh, not going to be able to hold that inside end, that outside.
Lindauer's got the inside now. He's got this, I think.
There you go.
Just gotta be
Raza,
safe on those
great
curves.
exit, all over Morrison. He's gonna have to drive on him, tucking into the inside. He's got it under braking. He's brave enough.
Ooh.
Oh, he loses rear end. Good recovery, and he's
They're still side by side.
side by side going to the kink. Morrison's on the inside, is able to hold the inside. What a... Gonna hop outside. What a race. Now,
Kudos to
this
Alvarez.
brings Eric Kukashin into the battle, and we're gonna see 3-car battle, possibly 4 as Eddie Chan is joining them as well.
Eric's going to have to try to defend
Raza,
here.
one's gonna have Morrison. Yeah, it looks like Provolone has served as drive-through. It's really unfortunate. I guess the only saving grace is that it was just a drive-through, not stop and go.
Sorry, I'm going to be pulling away from these drivers because we have Wasson is under attack by Eddie Chan, or yeah, one of the Chans,
That's
Norman Chan.
Norman Chan, and so obviously from last race, Norman Chan has some great
Kakassian
pace
is in the
rain.
wall.
Oh,
He spun out, but he's back in it. Mike Burkhoff now in P10 from last place. This driver is going to be making a lot of positions up here.
it's 2 laps and he's gained 8 positions. That's quite a drive.
All right. We have an even spread amongst these drivers as they're all pretty consistent. We'll go back to the car number 1 and 2. Josh Wilson, number 22 car. He's P2. Oh.
He hits the wall.
Yeah, he gets a lot of damage from that wall.
Yeah, that hurts early in the race.
We'll pull away. Looks like there's going to be a 1.5 second gap from P1 and 2. Ross is still holding his own. Lindauer holding P1, or P3, sorry. Does he come in through again for his mandatory pit? It will count as a pit. The Wet Sox is asking. If you go into pit for repairs, that does count as a mandatory pit.
Yes.
Your mandatory pit is just... So drive-thrus and stop-and-goes are the only time your mandatory pit does not count. Miller, you want to add on that, or is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I'm actually hopping into the race, and I'll hopefully be able to help spot some battles.
Okay.
Now I'm
yeah.
spectating.
Yeah, drive-through. Yeah, even for drive-throughs, yes. The whole point is that your drive-through, you're not actually stopping in the pits. You're just driving through the pit lane, and that's basically however long it takes you. I think it's like 15 seconds, roughly, or 20 seconds. Whereas changing tires takes 30 seconds. Adding fuel takes as much time as you do that. Repairs can take anywhere from a couple seconds to a couple minutes. But that is your own choice. But when you're doing your mandatory pit, all you have to do is drive in, pit, turn off your car will lift up, and then you can drop it back down and drive off. That is considered a mandatory pit.
Raza must have made a mistake because he's now back behind Morrison. Oh, never mind, never mind.
What?
That was Morrison was able to defend that last time. That's correct. So
Yeah.
Raza just continues the attack, and Morrison, who was putting pressure on Wasm all of last race, now has to survive the pressure from Raza.
And like I said, I mean, he's got heat when he's in a pack. Ross is doing really well. I mean,
And then Shan is right on Wasm's bumper.
Yeah, that's good racing there. Looks like he might be able to snag this inside here.
It's got the inside clean.
But we're going
He's
through
got
a
a better drive
left-hander.
off the exit.
Oh,
but
there we go.
Confident on the brakes. He's able to stick it.
We have a couple chans in the middle.
Now we got a drag
P6 and
race.
7.
Question is if he. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. Going tight right-hander. Did he go over under? Wasm gets the outside. Oh, that was on the inside for next.
Bit of contact, a little
Yeah,
contact on
squeezed
that.
out there. Yeah, that was a mistake by
Oh.
Chan, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
Luckily, neither driver. It's a big moment there, and they're able to continue racing. Wassum's not going to be happy about that.
He's got his notebook out.
But Mike Burkhoff in P10 probably going to have a go at Bravo here very shortly.
Yeah, might come very soon at this rate.
Riley might be struggling a little bit because I think Josh is starting to slightly reel him in.
Is he?
I'll keep an eye on that battle.
Okay. Yeah,
Continue to watch the backpack.
Pop back over to him, see how he's doing.
Got Burkhoff on the attack up against Bravo, Mercedes versus Ferrari, two really good cars. So it'll be interesting to see how they each.
He's had a Roscoe go off in P12.
Yeah, he's dropping down the pack there now. There he goes, diving on that side.
Really went for that dive. That was a great overtake.
Very calculated. Mike Burkhoff P9. He's going to be going after those chans very shortly. Because Wassum was able to stick it, and he's now in between the chans again.
Oh, he's still he was.
He got passed by one of the chans, and now he's. Oh, he passed Norman Chan, but Eddie Chan is who passed him originally.
Yeah, I think Wassum's lost a spot to Chan. Or no, he lost a spot to Chan last lap.
Yeah, he lost it to Eddie Chan, the one that's in front of him. Or no, sorry, Norman Chan, who was in front of him. But Eddie Chan, who's behind him, was actually in front of both of them.
So he must have had an off or something.
Yeah, that must have been it.
Yeah, because it was the blue.
You're right.
The blue car that was he was battling in the back when he was getting attacked, not the white car. But you can see the consistency of these two Chan drivers. They're like really close together, and I bet you they're going to be really contentious when the season
they're
starts.
solid top
as a
10
team.
drivers. I mean, I think that's pretty clear to see.
And Constable Cody Wassum's been in a sandwich before between a couple teams, so it's nothing new for him. I bet he's not even sweating it. I think he's just playing consistency.
I think
right
Wassum's probably one of the most. He's pretty disciplined. He doesn't get shaken too easily, so I think he's gonna stay cool under pressure. As I say that, here's the commentator. Once again, Wassum goes off.
Yikes,
So Wassum loses a spot
really?
to Eddie Chan, and now Burkhoff putting Wassum under pressure.
Yep, here we go.
I'm gonna stop blaming drivers in this league because whenever I do, they have to make a mistake.
The mistake isn't ours. We're just we're following what happens. It's just a coincidence. And while this is a little close, where are we at on our 1 and 2? Are they close, or should we pan over to them?
It's taking about 1 second, so it's just that it's maintaining 1 second. But I mean, that was a bigger gap in the beginning of the race, and Josh was able to reel him in, and now it's just staying there.
I thought Eric had a better run at that.
And we're seeing really more minuses in the rain in the forecast, so we could see that dry race coming into play sooner than later.
Yeah, it is minusing out, and the track is damp now. Okay.
Puddles are drying out. It's starting to just kind of get that even sheen.
49 minutes left to go, and in 10 minutes it's still going to be minusing out for the next 10 minutes. We're going to see this track kind of open up again. We might switch to a greasy track. I'm going to pull and start looking at some other drivers here. So we see Provolone. At some point he must have made a mistake or something might have happened. Oh, wasn't he one of the drivers at the start of the race that was in an incident?
He had his drive.
Yes, he had a drive-through.
Yeah, so
early in the race.
Really
so he's just going to be making a recovery at this point.
Yeah, and Trev Hummer was also in an incident with another driver off the bat.
Raza putting Morrison under pressure again, and at some point you think he's going to make another move. It's right in his bumper.
The Gary Barry asked who has the best livery out there, and I'm not going to even say it without bias. I'll show it in a second, but we see Raza going in on that inside, trying to get at him. Ooh, he got collected. He hit him. Oh, he's into the wall.
No, hate to see it.
Yeah, you really hate to see it. That's
It did look kind of like a tough racing incident there. I mean, neither of them was really on the super ideal
If we know
line.
anything about Morrison, he does not back out of a battle, so...
It looked like he was holding his line, but it also looked like there was just some lag, some latency between the two drivers, and that's what happened.
That is possible. If that damage is affecting him, we might see him falling back to the Chan brothers soon.
This livery right here, as you're looking at it, the Gary Barry, is probably by far one of the most exceptional liveries from the livery legend himself, as we have a driver who has gone off, and that was I think Jay Bravo. Unfortunately, he must have spun out along the side.
It's a quick recovery, just loses one spot.
Yeah. Oh! Whoa!
Oh,
It's the two Porsches. Was that...
That was Morrison.
Yeah, it looked like Morrison.
That could be something that was caused by the damage he received. Let me try to spot what happened there.
Yeah, it looks like we have Morrison,
car involved.
Gukasian, and Barrio. Or who's this driver that's next to him? The 51. That's Bravo. Bravo Morrison had some incident. Yeah, we do need a jet emote for liveries. Looking
Ooh,
nice.
Looks like Norm Chan and Morrison got together there. Little tap on the inside. They both had a spin. Norm was just able to get out under getting away and going quicker. Maybe a little payback from the brother after last race's pass.
You'd hope that you're not seeing retribution on out of our league.
Well, I'm not saying it was it wasn't a malicious pass. It was just an aggressive inside move, and they made contact. Both had a mild spin. It wasn't hard contact.
Look at that. Norman Chan's breaking that toe right there against Eric Gukasian as they're trying to go into this corner. We'll see from a different perspective.
Either that or maybe his wets are starting to heat up again already and find some water, cooler asphalt. But if I could go back, I want to go back to that livery question, because I mean, I think this season we've got a lot of good liveries from a lot of different people who contribute, and I think the big thing is liveries is all style. It's like trying to say what's the best, what's the best sneaker out there, what's the best shoe. It's like it's all. I mean, the way I design my liveries, I try to not really make them look so much like race cars. They're just kind of parts of me. Whereas, a lot of people really do like race car looks. A lot of people like weirdness. I mean, it's all sorts of stuff. It's just kind of who you are, and so that's another fun thing about our league is it's just all kinds of people having fun with each other for sure.
Absolutely, but when someone said that Gary Barry said that was regal, it does look regal. It looks prestigious.
I'd also like to shout out for the Panzer team of Eric Caution and Josh Willis. It's a solid looking Porsche.
That is a
I do wish we had the Flying Lizard out here tonight.
It's unfortunate we don't have anybody representing the Flying Lizard. I'm really bummed about that. I thought Pickerel would be here. We'll see them in action next Sunday.
Engine failures. Is there engine
There are
failures?
possible, yes.
Possible,
engine failures. They are rare, but it usually is a result of driver error over downshifting It's usually the main cause.
Yeah,
Ooh,
we actually.
Norm slides wide
Yeah,
there.
he hit the wall
Yeah.
on
That's
that
gonna put him
one.
under pressure. Gukashin's gonna make it move
Yep.
down the inside.
I think he
He's
just
got it
won
stuck
that drag race.
easily,
Yeah.
and then Norm, Mr. Consistency in race 1, makes a uncharacteristic mistake there.
But he holds that inside. And he is damaged. This is
He
the
might not have
Panzer
taken much damage.
Molder
There's a very
Porsche.
oh, it's a little
he
tap.
tapped. Yep, and they're both in the wall.
Oh,
Let's see if Eric can't recover quickly.
He does.
It might have been. It might have just been a tiny little nose in
Norm
the corner.
retires.
Yeah, just
Unfortunate
a
for
little.
him. I think he might
Yeah.
have sustained too much damage from the multiple incidents there.
As we see Jose Bravo of Iron Links and Matt Morrison also going at it here.
Miller, we actually did have I think it was an Aston or maybe one of the Macas in the GT4 race the other night that had an engine failure.
Yeah, it is possible.
Or in practice, in one of the sessions.
I think it was just a double downshift that caused it, if I recall correctly. So a double downshift can definitely do it in.
And
so we look. Burkhoff is catching Wasem right now.
yes, he is, and that's the one thing I wanted to come back to at some point is that he was P7, and now he's It just hasn't updated.
He was P18.
Yeah, he was P18, and now he's down at P7, P6.
So he's gained.
I mean, it's still
11 positions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we called that.
18 minutes into the race too. I mean, I could see Burkhoff on the podium at the end of this race.
Absolutely. We still have 42 minutes left on the board here, and as long as there's no incidents that occur, I mean, the man does do consistent.
And we still look as the weather continues to trend towards lighter and lighter rain. So it's just a matter of when it stops, and then we can see some interesting strategies develop.
Yeah, all things being somewhat even, rain is usually an equalizer. So once it dries out, the strong should be in good shape to get stronger if they're still making their way through the track.
So at one point, Raza did get ahead of who was ahead of him? Was it one of the Chans, or I thought it was Wasem?
He was racing with Provolone for a while.
Oh, okay, and then Provolone had that drive-through. So then he's just been steady in fourth place with Lindauer 4 seconds ahead of him. And the reason why we haven't gone to P1 and 2 or any of the ones in pole position right now is you got Lindauer in P3. He's got 10 seconds ahead of him to P2 and 4.5 seconds behind on P4. Josh Willis, who's in P2, has 4.5 seconds, almost 5 seconds off of P1 and 10.5 seconds off of P3. So we have a race lead. Riley Manier of the Adidas Parlay team is also just, he's got a comfortable lead. He's still going to have to pit, though, and so that's what's really going to make the difference here is how long is he going to stay out on these wets as the track goes damp and we're seeing the rain dissipate.
I think as soon as you see that track status drop from damp to greasy, you're going to see a mad dash to the pits. Temperatures are dropping, so just slightly though.
On track, yeah, 1 degree, I believe, or 2. Was it 2? 23 or 24 on. Oh, it's off camera a little bit, but Jerry Shirk is slidden off track there, and that's going to be an easy overtake for Trev Hummer there. And Otto looking to put some pressure on Santiago Roscoe. They are fighting for P11 and 12, so it's a battle anyone wants to be in. Well, he lets off. Now throwing it to you, Miller, going through the second sector, would you find a comfortable spot to pass the driver right now, or would you just maintain it until you get to sector 3 as we see a couple of drivers an incident? Oh, yeah. Eric Cassian and Barario had an incident through the corner in Sector 2, but not much we can see. They're back on track, though. It's Jacob Otto of the Mille Frey Lexus Racing is able to overtake Santiago Roscoe. Borton Salt going through this corner, right-hander. There's a lot of damage for the this driver, as you can see on the front end there. SD61 Luna. Yes, it is more realistic. The physics engine is extremely realistic. These cars, the GT3 and GT4s, are the direct data from the actual DG world, from the actual cars in the real life. That data is pulled into the game. So there are some minor adjustments where they will tweak cars that are really insane. This is the most realistic version of the GT3, GT4 cars you would be seeing in the GT World Series, which the real life series, and in this game. I think Jet or Miller might be able to explain it a little bit more than that. But yeah, it's got a realistic tire wear, pressures matter, how much fuel you have, the load balance of the car. So if you're going hard through a turn, the weight differential shifts in the car itself. It all matters. As Burkhoff's still holding a strong pace with Constable Cody Wasson, but he's still not able to get by him. I feel like with a best of 143 and a best of 143.2, 143.4, both these drivers are pretty consistent on their pace. Yeah. Oh, okay. Denny Hamlin gonna win first playoff win 6 laps to go. Oh, that's pretty cool. I do believe, however, both my commentators have decided to abandon me for just a brief moment, so I am unable to get their opinions on that as well. But
yeah, no, I can hop in there.
Yeah.
So this is definitely like you said, the most accurate, realistic Title 4, specifically GT3 and GT4 racing. Now, this is specifically SRO GT World Challenge spec GT3 and GT4 cars, and that also includes their actual balance of power at each track. So what balance of power essentially is it's the racing organization's way of making sure that all the cars, despite weight differences, horsepower differences in their stock engines, that they all kind of come to a balanced state of performance, so that any driver could potentially win on any day. And it's not necessarily perfect, but it's a good system to kind of help keep the league competitive. But this is specifically for SRO GT World Challenge. Although other racing organizations such as DTM also do use GT3 type cars.
Yeah, but the whole point is that in this, actually, let's pull. I don't know where we're at on the track here, but we got
I didn't see the full question.
Well, it was more or less, is this game more realistic than F1? For sure, it's way more realistic than F1, as we have Barrera going against, has some lap traffic with Barrio and Eric Cassian. Both those drivers should be pulling away to let him pass. F1 has a massively weird physics engine, but as far as this engine goes, the physics of the cars when they drive them are pretty realistic to how they would go. We have a driver has gone off slightly.
There's a few other tricks up this title sleeve, like the laser scan tracks specifically are a huge benefit to this game. So every single track has been laser scanned to a very, very accurate degree. So just bumps, differences in camber, all sorts of things that lead to just track imperfections and just suboptimal conditions here and there, and that also includes how the water pools up on these tracks when we have wet races. So you're definitely looking at a very, very, very realistic version through this title for sure.
And one thing we can note here is that Josh Willis is one of the first drivers to pull into the pits and switch out maybe his tires, or maybe he's just repairing, but it looks like he's been in there for a while now, as we have Roz is also in the pits and Chan's also in the pits. One of the things was to undercut the extra drive, the driver that you're in front of you, which is Riley Manier. So Josh is back out on the track. He is P8, but that's not going to hold for long because all these drivers do have to pit at some point. So he is definitely in his own little race right now. Lambos in this game. I believe there is, there is a Lamborghini, and then there's the Super Trofeo.
Yeah, so there's actually two different Lamborghinis in this. There's the Lamborghini Huracan GT3, which is the complete GT3 spec that performs at that GT3 level. And then there's also the Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo, which is basically a spec version for not just development drivers, but I guess it's kind of they call it a cup class, where a lot of the tweakable things on a GT3 car are set standard, like a lot of times differential preload, sometimes aerodynamics and suspension, with just a little bit of tunability for the drivers. And so you actually have two different, they're pretty different Lamborghinis when you get behind the wheel in a lot of ways, but also in a lot of ways a lot the same. And you can get just kind of two different races out of either one.
And I mean, it was a question that was a while back, but Kunde Musk so what do you guys think of the F1 race? I mean, I liked it. I mean, I only got to see the highlights because I woke up. I mean, I was working night shift, so I didn't get to see the entire race. But I looked at the highlights, and it looked like a good race to me. I mean, probably it was boring because they cut a lot of it out. But I mean, Sergio Perez came back from the pits and got a spot, P8, P7, I think it was P8, and he's one of my favorites, so good on him. Max won, so Red Bull's in a good spot.
Yeah, definitely a good weekend for Red Bull, and had Perez been able to do better, it could have been an even better weekend, considering that Mercedes did have two top drivers. So on the team standings, it was also really good for Mercedes, but it was, I mean, I thought it was a good race. It wasn't completely without drama, but it also, you didn't see, half the field retiring over crazy instances or anything like that. So I thought it was a good race, and I really liked, with the banking and everything, I really liked how they were able to maneuver the track. I thought it was kind of,
I mean, Vettel almost got killed by Bottas. There's great maneuvers by both parties, and then I think there's another driver that came up on him, but when he had that spin out on that embankment.
Yeah.
But what was our favorite cars in the games? And we'll get to that question in just a second. We just I want to go back to the fact that we have Riley Manier in P1. He's got a 21-second gap from P2. We're halfway through this race. Eddie Chan is another 40 seconds behind him, with Constable Cody Watson another 40 seconds, and Mike Burkhoff 40 seconds behind him. The issue is that our driver in P8 is one of the only drivers that has pitted since the start of this race. So Josh Willis is going to make up a lot of time here. He's got 30 seconds to P4. He was P2. So when these drivers go into pit, he can pull back and undercut half the grid there and really get a standing either back at P2 or hoping he gets P1 is what his bet was on that. As far as the favorite car goes, everyone has their own personal favorite. Jay Alvarez, think that the McLaren driven by Barrera there, is my favorite car in the GT3 series, the 720S. Jets is probably going to be, I don't know, a Ferrari?
Yeah, I mean, overall in the game, I guess I'd say the Ferrari. I also practice with the Lamborghini a lot and like it for a lot of reasons. But overall, I guess my pick is the Ferrari, between just the aerodynamics, the pretty moderate fuel usage. It uses a little bit of it's a little higher on the fuel usage, but not really a fuel hog. It's really, really good on tire wear through longer races. There's a lot of things that you have to think about when you're kind of picking your car, and so a lot of drivers you'll see kind of driving different cars for different reasons. That's also another really fun part about this game and racing, and just kind of you kind of start out with one car in one class, and then you kind of get into one car in another class, and you're like, oh, hey, multiple cars is fun, and then all of a sudden you're just hopping car to car because you just like the progression and the learning.
Yeah, it was greatly said. One second.
Like, I really like those Porsche Cups now. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, there's no way to ever say that the Porsche Cup is an egregious term. I mean, just going down the list here, we have Lindauer still has a 23-second gap, and one of the Chans has stayed in the pits. So I think that was Norman Chan when he had a bad accident. As we have Riley Meneers being held up by lap traffic as he is lapping half the grid here, or a good portion of the grid. So far, I mean, he's going to be on the heels of Eddie Chan, who's in P10. We still have 18. We still have 18 drivers on the track, so he's halfway through this pack of cars here. That's P1 in a race of his own. It's
yeah, well, it's tough with getting in packs of back markers as well, because just as you saw right back there, it's when it's wet and you've got people with slower pace, and sometimes you don't really if they usually have slower pacing, you're not used to racing near them anyways. Sometimes you don't really know what their driving style is like, or if you can trust them. And so Riley's strategy right now should be to just kind of play it cool. He's got a really big gap, so it's not like he's being unfairly held up, or somebody's getting an advantage out of this. So I think his best bet's just to stay cool and collect these overtakes as people make their kind of smaller mistakes that Riley tends to usually not make.
As we see, Jacob Otto is going into the pits to make his mandatory pit stop. Are we planning on getting to GT7 or not? Your cup of tea? Assetto Corsa Competition is it's the gate. They only have GT3, GT4 cars and the Porsche Cup cars. So this is the series. Our leagues run under this. Yeah, and the Super Trofeo are the only cars that we run under. We will have. We do play another game. What is it? Automobilista 2. That's basically for fun. We don't have a league for that. But this is the last preseason finale to the GT3 mid-season break. We will be going into our series, the regular series for the GT3 series, as well as the GT4 series on Thursdays, and the Porsche Cup Championship series is going to be on Saturdays. So GT3 on Sundays, and it's all on the schedule. It's also on our Discord. So if you're interested to see how that works out, that's how we do it. We're doing things for the next, I think it's 3 months?
Yeah, it goes definitely into late December, if I remember the last time I looked at the calendar. So yeah, I mean, we usually do try to get 12 or 16 weeks of races with the week off here or there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a 10-week season. Sorry, I'm just joining you.
Yep.
But it'll be a 10-week season with a few breaks this season.
And it looks like Santiago Roscoe is going to be in a battle right now against Jerry Shurik. They're about half a second off each other. Gran Turismo 7. I've never played the Gran Turismo series.
I actually haven't
Oh,
either.
tries to
I don't
hold
really
that
have
inside. Oh, contact was made right there, I believe.
It's clean to me.
Maybe on my end. Oh, he goes wide and he's in the wall. Oh, that is unfortunate for Jerry.
Ooh.
Yep, back out onto the
He
track
just
too.
collected
Glad
a
he was
little
able
bit
to
too
get it
much curb.
stopped.
It's in a very awkward spot, though.
He's going to be passed by Provolone and Raza. As Provolone and Raza. Provolone P12, so that's good for him.
He's going to have to wait for ages to find a gap to rejoin. So Shurik just probably lost a full minute there trying to rejoin.
So we still have Constable Cody Washam in P3 and Mike Burkhoff in P4. Yet, you know, it's an insane thing that Mike came back from last place at the opening lap. He has still not pitted, neither has Cody Washam, neither is Lindauer or Riley Manier. So it's tough to say what's going to happen as we see Morrison, who has not pitted as well, but Josh Willis has pitted. So Josh Willis is one of the only drivers in the top 6 or 7 that has pitted for sure.
I think at this point, it's going to become questionable if you can get an advantage at these with 20 minutes left to 30-second tire change. It's going to have to get dry very quickly for a dry tire to make sense.
Yeah, I think we're going to be, even though it's going minus on the weather, we're still going to be seeing drivers stay on these wets, trying to maintain.
It looks like it, and if you tailor your driving style, you can kind of keep them from overheating, and I think, you know, drivers, veteran drivers like Josh and Miley will, between finding puddles and just not over driving too much, they'll manage those tire temps and continue to have good laps.
And we missed
Doesn't
it,
really
but
look like the track hasn't the track has actually gotten a little cooler.
we got
so
Burkhoff closing the gap on Wassam within 3/10 now.
yeah, Provolone was able to make good pace. He passed Santiago Roscoe and Raza. Now he's P10, so he's now back in the points.
Look at
Good
that.
job for him.
Now, do we know if Provolone has pitted yet, though?
I do not.
He had the drive-through penalty earlier. I don't know if he's actually been in the pits yet. Oh, curse the commentator. Provolone runs wide.
Yes, he does.
And Raza retakes his position in P10.
You hate to see it, folks.
it looks like I don't know if it's just a difference in sectors, but it does look like Burkhoff caught up to Wassam, but he's having trouble closing the deal.
He's been on the heels of Wassam.
Morrison mentioned that as well, that, you know, he was stronger in some sections and Wassam was stronger in others, so it might be the same story with Burkhoff.
They are, if we shift over to Wassam, he's got a 142.6.
As we continue to watch this battle, we keep in mind that it looks like Willis will be catching Morrison probably a couple laps, judging at the relatives.
Okay, and then, so back to that, we have a 142.6 and a 143 flat was his last on Cody Wassam, and then 143.4 was his last. So Burkhoff's not able to close the gap because he's still 4/10 off of Wassam's pace.
Ooh, we got Hummer and
Game on this point.
Barrera going side by side. Oh, and they get into each other.
Oh.
That's not where you want to be getting into each other either.
They
Yeah.
were side by side going into that turn, and neither yielded. And fortunately, Barrera comes off the worst of the two.
able to get back
Careful
on.
on this
before-
rejoin.
Oh,
Ooh,
that was Lindauer giving me a
right
little,
in front of Lindauer. That's going to be awkward.
it's a little tap. But it's not enough.
I think Barrera would be best to just get out of the way and let Lindauer move through after that one.
So we have a bunch of people in the pits now. So it looks like Morrison is in the pits. We have Shurik in the pits. And then we have one of the Chans in the pits. Are both the Chans going to stay in the pits? That's the real question here. Is both of them have been in the backfield for a while. I know one of them has kind of called it quits. Atmosphere, the only atmosphere, the weather conditions are kind of dynamic and you can change them up, but it only goes from wet to dry. And then the track is now greasy and the rain
And
is still
that's
going to continue.
Now that's the question, but I mean, we've seen this in the race before that even with the greasy surface, the dry tire is ideal in these conditions, and the temperature is still relatively high. So we could see. I mean, 18 minutes left. If I don't know, we'll see. Somebody might take the gamble. So it looks like of the drivers remaining, just Burkhoff, Wassam, Lindauer, and Minier have yet to pit.
Yeah. Oh, atmosphere in this game looks legit. Yeah, it's very, when you run the full dynamics settings, it looks pretty good. The VR experience is a little different, but it looks like Riley Minier still has a 30-second gap over Lindauer. I don't think... I think Riley has pulled off one of those feats where he knows he's just going to be able to pit, you know, safely and get out safely and still hold and maintain his position. Because Lindauer does have to pit. And so does Wassam and Burkhoff, who have got a weird spread of 3 seconds. Oh, wow.
It's interesting to see, though, with Riley having cut through the pack, why now he's just going to have to go through and do it again. If I were him, I would seriously consider, because isn't it just a time penalty if you don't hit?
No.
Or is it
I thought it was... it might be just a... I thought it was disqualification, but...
it's DQ then.
But, I mean, there would be no reason not to. It looks like Morrison's still in the pits.
The only thing that means is he took dry tires then, right?
Yes, if he goes in at this point, he would. Well, but then it's the 30 seconds of tires, so that 30 seconds of time.
It looks like he's doing it. He's been standing still, so I think Morrison is going for dry tires. I don't know if it's going to pay off though. He's got 60 minutes to make up that difference.
So Barrera did go into the wall with Trev Hummer, but Barrera's back at P8 from P12, so he's making good pace.
Yeah, it's really an unfortunate incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barrera himself is going to have about 2 seconds faster a lap for this to have paid off. So I guess we'll see.
Oh, well, SD, there is a Honda GT3 car and isn't there a GT4 Honda as well, or
just the GT3?
Yeah.
Which is a good machine, especially on the international tracks, on the Intercontinental Series, like Kyalami. Suzuka. I think it's pretty good at Laguna, and it's definitely really good at Bathurst too. So,
yeah, as we see, Josh Willis is 15 seconds behind P3 and 4. So when these drivers finally pit, which they have 15 minutes to pit, he's gonna at least take back P3 from. And actually, Lindauer has to pit too, so he might be able to take P2 from Lindauer. He'll be kind of close when he gets to Lindauer on that pit.
Now we know. I don't think Barrera took tires, but Morrison did. So let's keep an eye on Morrison's lap time here.
Morrison, when I said the 2 seconds extra per lap, I got my drivers mixed up. But yes, you're correct. It still has to be about 2 seconds per lap for Morrison for that to pay off.
All right, we'll be switching over. We'll just kind of go down the grid, seeing where people are at here. You see Hummer is P6, so he's still, it kind of paid off for him, even though he was in that incident.
Roscoe goes into the pits.
And Riley Manier finally goes into the pits. And that is going to be the outlet for Morrison, so we'll go back to him, but I just want to see how long it takes.
I'll keep an eye on Riley's pit stop if you want to stay on the action on track.
Yeah, let's time this out as we see. Ooh.
I believe Riley is going to dry tires. He's been standing. Yep, Riley makes the move to dry tires.
Oh my.
Well, he doesn't really have a lot to lose at the track getting greasy.
Now, Lindauer is yet to pit as well.
See, Erica Cassie is really trying to defend himself against Jason Provone here, and they are really close.
The gap that Rudy had, though, was just incredible. So,
really incredible, yeah.
Oh, Wassam really wanted that overtake on. So Wassam nearly had Riley on pit exit.
But Wassam still has not pitted.
Lindauer has taken provisional first place, but is yet to pit. So the question is, if Lindauer can gamble without a tire change, he has a chance to steal first place from Riley.
Before Riley went in, they were, what, 25, 26 behind?
They were 30 seconds apart.
30 behind. So, yeah, if he...
And
man, that's
Matt Morrison
real
gets a 145.8. What was that on the wets?
Faster than that.
It's not an improvement.
Well, the problem for the dries is it's harder to heat them up when your track's not as warm and it's wet. So
yeah, it should have top tire warmers at least, but yeah, it's gonna fall off quickly in this weather. Oh, and now we see a plus in the rain, so a real blow to the guys on dry tires. Well, that will only really be in the closing lap or two of the race.
So, and we still have Cody Wassam and Mike Burkhoff in P3 and 4 who have not pitted, and we have 11 minutes and 30 seconds of time. And Riley Manier is probably going to hold P1 again, and Josh.
Well, I think Lindauer has something to say here. I mean, if he is able to get ahead of him on his pit, is able to not take dry tires and get an exit ahead of Riley, he has a chance to hold on to this, I think, because we're going to see the rain increase, and it's not the easiest track to overtake on.
And
that's all true. Yeah, I wonder when he's going to want to time his pit.
Another thing to add is that Josh Willis just
I think
pulled up
his
a 141.
best move would be to time it right about now, because he's going to be coming up to some lap traffic, and the last thing he can afford is to lose time to lap traffic.
So Matt Morrison's time not improving is also 6 seconds off the pace of Josh Willis's wet tires, which is so we see Josh Willis flashing Barrera, let him pass him. I think you're right, though, Miller. With that 32-second gap.
And I mean, if Morrison's lap times are anything to indicate, Riley might be struggling here too. So if Riley's falling off the pace, this falls right into Lindauer's hands.
Yeah, we'll see it when we come across this line here, because that was his dirty lap.
You can hear the throttle lift on the corner there, so he's obviously struggling for grip.
And it's just going to get rainier as we continue here.
So he's
142 flat.
Not improving his time though, so not faster than his wet tires as of right now.
Yeah, he might just need 1 or 2 more laps to figure it out. But then the pace might not be there.
You'll think though, the tire warmers, he's only going to get the best temperatures
at the very
earlier
beginning.
on. Yeah. And track temperature is now 22 degrees Celsius, and we see more rain in the forecast. So I think Lindauer would be looking to pit at this point because he's going to be held up by this battle. Look up here. Because Provolone and Gukashin are both fighting for position.
And as teammates, you really don't want to hold each other up, but it looks like that's kind of what's happening a little bit here with this this fight.
You got to give credit to Provolone, though. I mean, these are tough races to see out when you get a penalty in the opening lap.
Yeah.
He's fighting back.
You think that would have been the opportunity for Lindauer to just pull into the pits?
Oh, the over-under. And there he executes. So let's see if he can hold on to this. Oh, he got him through the kink. Yeah, he has the pass.
So now we'll see what happens here. He's being held up by nothing but lap traffic here. You can see that blue flag waving, so they know what's happening.
Come on, Lindauer, you need to pit.
He definitely needs to pit.
He's got to do it. I mean, this is...
It's absurd that he's still sitting in this lap traffic. He's got an auto there that's on the outside and another driver on the inside. Hey, Bamf Healer for the follow, thank you.
Ooh, okay.
That was close.
That's the risk you take when you run in traffic. So I think, looking at just the relative, I think he would come out in a relatively clean spot if he pitted soon.
Oh, 26 and a half seconds off of the car number 2, or position 2. Yeah, you definitely want to have him pit on this lap.
Yeah, well, I think I don't think he's gonna have he might be able to pull it off. 26 seconds. We're estimating that about 15 seconds to get through the pit lane, and then a 5 second. I mean, it's gonna be tight.
15 to 18 seconds. Yeah, somewhere around that was my estimation on how long it would take if you just lift up and drop down.
Yeah, he does need to realize though that
and Lindauer goes into pits.
Yeah.
This is the most suspenseful part of the
Oh
my God!
Oh, shades of Hamilton. This is really
really
unfortunate.
Oh my!
He's got to get this right. Come on. He's blocking pit lane, and that's really.
Oh, he drops to pit. That's gonna hold him up
lost
for a
that
lock.
whole lap.
That's gonna hold him up for a whole lap. Lindauer's.
That's wow. I mean, that was reminiscent of Hamilton's error a few years back. I mean, that's.
Oh no.
It happens to the best. I mean, it happens to F1 drivers. It's just he's pushing to the absolute limit to ensure that he's going to get out ahead of Riley, and.
Oh my God, that was hard to watch.
Caution. I mean, really. The innocent bystander in that situation because pit lane was just blocked and he had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and if he had tried to exit out of that scenario, it would have given him a drive-through for crossing the line again, or a stop and go.
DQ. No, it would have disqualified him for unsafe driving.
So here we have it, 14 seconds off the pace of P1. Riley Meniere's holding his position. He is now P1 and Josh Willis is P2. This was how the race started, and now it's where it's at now. Oh. Eric Kakassian is
looks like he might be coming back for a battle. I think is he on the same lap as Orozco, or is he one up?
Orozco's up one. So Otto is 47 seconds ahead of Eric Kakassian. So he's going to be sitting in this spot for the 4 minutes and 45 seconds we have left on the ball. As Cody Wassam, I don't know if he ever pitted. Maybe he did pit, and that was early, and we didn't notice. But he's still P3, and Mike Burkhoff is P4. You hate to see it, that's for sure.
Has Burkhoff pitted?
I don't believe Burkhoff or Wassam have pitted, but I could be wrong. I thought initially...
I think at this point they have.
They must have. We just had not noticed, but at the same time, they held such a high high position against Josh Willis, who was in P2. But he regained his spot, so they might have done it on that last lap when we were not paying attention. Yeah. What?
Ooh, Morrison goes off into the wall. I think we're seeing his dry tires really have some trouble with this weather right now.
Yeah, his last was a 145.5.
He's now carrying some damage. I think that's enough damage to possibly put him into Provolone's range. We'll see. I mean, Provolone could make a move for top 10 here, depending on how Morrison's damage pans out.
As we see, Hummer is still holding P5 with the last of 144.
Lindauer is able to get back on track, but all the way down to P12. It's a devastating incident for him.
Yeah, with 3 minutes left to go, going from P1 to P12, it's not what you want to see. Any specific battles happening right now that are... So we do have 3 drivers who have retired from this race, both of Chans and Jerry Sherrick. It's unfortunate sometimes that can happen in such a long race that has longevity, 60 minutes. Coming to a close. Track is still greasy.
Zandvoort has definitely provided some interesting racing tonight. Gotta give it some credit. The weather played a big role, obviously, but it's been...
Yeah, it's a huge factor in what happened tonight.
And I'm checking down the relatives right now. I don't see any
Yeah, Burkhoff's
tight battles at the moment.
6 seconds off of P3. Hummer's 30 seconds off of, or 27 and a half off of P5. Oh, as he goes into the pits. Nope. He just goes wide. Interesting line for Trev Hummer there.
Provolone, actually, I was on the bump. Is probably the best battle we're going to get right now. This is for P9. And we know Morrison's carrying some damage from that incident.
Absolutely, and Jason Provolone has been up and down the grid.
I mean, really unfortunate. If you take out that drive-through, he could be looking at, I mean, P6, P7, I mean, maybe P5. It's like,
yeah,
that drive-through really hurt him, so he's
Goes
making
in
the
on
best
the
of it, though.
inside.
And now he goes to the inside. Nice and easy. Gets it done. Morrison really can't put up much of a fight.
He's losing some speed in the back, too, so he's not even going to try to attack. And then while we have these 2 drivers, we have the...
This will be our final lap.
Yep. Going to Riley Menier, did he switch to dries? Yeah,
I believe he did.
Yeah, because he sat
He
in the
was a
pits for
long pit stop.
and there's just no other 2 drivers that are really...
He's actually still off the pace of his wet tires, so it's not necessarily... It wasn't faster. He was just able to be consistent and hold that lead. And obviously, Lindauer crashing really deprived us would have been a great battle for P1.
Oh, absolutely. And as it goes, we just don't have anything else happening on screen that's really we see this parlay going through. That's going to be Riley Menier taking P1
Has finished the race.
and Matt Morrison crossing the line for P10. As Raza goes P6, Josh Willis P2.
Solid drive from Raza.
Yeah.
New driver to the league.
Otto P11.
Awesome once again on the podium. Just the consistency pays off.
You can't change
Burkhoff,
the
I mean,
now.
what a
He's still
drive
not
though.
over there.
P18, P4. That's got, for me, that's got to be driver of the day.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's a huge step and improvement. Oh, as Lindauer just
Sums up his race pretty well. I mean, he's obviously frustrated with himself.
Yeah, he's maybe taking out a little frustration.
So I mean, the good news for him is it's a preseason race, so these are the kind of mistakes you want to make before things count, and you think lesson learned is something you will improve on.
Yeah, it's
Just be that
Constable Cody
extra careful the
Wasson.
next time he's into the pits.
The IDRF RU Motorsports team holds P3. That's double podium for him.
So, got some driver interviews coming up. We'll see.
Mike Burkhoff P4.
Try to track down a few drivers. Something that might not want to talk to us, but we'll see if I can get him into the green room here. Let's
see what happens. As we go through it, we have Riley Minear P1, Josh Willis P2, Cody Wasson P3, Mike Burkhoff P4, Trav Hummer P5, Raza P6, Barrera P7, Bravo P8, Provolone taking P9. Good for him. That was a strong race from him. Matt Morrison P10, Otto P11, Gukassian P12, Lindauer 13, Orozco 14, Shurik 15. Barrio 16, and the rest of the drivers had bowed out of the race. Congratulations to everybody. It was a very interesting race. I am only going to be pulling to the replay so we can get some driver interviews as well as look at some of the incidences on track to see what was done. Whew.
Well, here we're joined by Riley, the race winner. Obviously, the turnaround you wanted after race one.
Yeah, definitely. Felt good to finally kind of, I guess, avenge myself there.
Yeah, so just quickly, you went into the pits. Did you actually change tires?
I did. I went to dries thinking that would be the right move. It didn't, and if Lindauer wouldn't have stuffed it, he would have easily taken me. He had a 30-second gap over me, and I mean, if he would have just stopped, picked up the car, and sent it on its way, he'd have been the winner. I got lucky.
Yeah, Miller, Jet, do you have a question for our race winner?
Well, yeah, Riley. I mean, did you were you aware of what happened to Lindauer in the race? 'Cause I think you guys were shaping up for a really great battle for P1, and then
yeah, I
tragedy
heard
struck.
him. I heard him say he Austin Powers it into the pits.
It really. I mean, if you remember Hamilton 08, that's basically what I would say. It was just like he was in a great position, and then just a little too much speed, and cost himself the race going into the pits, and parked it sideways and didn't know where to go.
Damn, it's unfortunate, but
yeah,
it was a good race. I'm happy with where we came out in the end. Took a little bit of work, but yeah, I was running in map 5 at the beginning of the race and was just trying to keep Josh at bay a little bit.
I was actually asking about that. Yeah, so it really looked like for a while, like we said that maybe Josh was pulling on you, but then it looked like you were just maintaining the gap, and then obviously the pace was there, and you pulled a huge gap after that. But is it just playing it safe?
Yeah, I can't remember what map it is that the Ferrari runs better in the wet, so I was just running it in 5 thinking that was the one. I don't know if that's correct. It might be, but I mean, the car was stable enough in map 1 that it just kept pulling on Josh, and I think that was the right call, and just shifting it back there after a couple laps, I really started to pull.
Well, congratulations, and forward to a strong show from you in the season.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Hey, joined by Josh Willis.
Oh, Josh Willis.
Hello.
Hey, Josh, you held a great race pace. You pitted early over other drivers. Did you feel like you're going to have a great undercut on all the drivers? And I mean, it paid off in the end, but were you worried at all?
I wasn't worried. I could have waited a few more laps just to get a little bit more optimum. I started doing, I think it was like a half a second slower after I pit for the dries. But then I got that pace back. I started matching it and then doing better. Just changed my. I went with a wet setup with brake pads one, so I could warm up the tires faster and close the ducts. I don't know. I felt pretty good the whole race. They didn't have the temperature exactly wanted, but never felt like it was going to slide out from underneath.
Yeah.
Good. A lot of fun.
Is there anything about the race you would change differently?
Again, I would probably just pit a little bit later. Maybe I could have got a little bit closer to Rudy. I don't know if I could have passed him. I honestly don't think I had that pace without any
Yeah,
practice.
it looks like he was just maintaining that gap early on. We thought, thought there was something in that battle, but then he just kind of.
I heated up the rear tires just a little bit early in that battle. So I started lifting off, and then he just
Yeah, that
started
would do it.
walking away, and it was also a little bit difficult in the dirty air. So I didn't get to stay with him as long as I wanted, and that was the only reason I went in earlier than anything, is I just wanted to see if I could try anything special. But it worked out pretty good. Second place, wasn't too mad.
Yeah.
Great race.
Yep, thank you.
We'll get Burkhoff and Wasserman here.
Oh yeah.
Joined by Burkhoff and Wassam, two drivers who had a great race for third and fourth place.
Very great race. And Mike, just want to say congratulations on going from
you're the
last,
driver of the day.
Yeah, last to
with the
fourth.
P18 to fourth place drive.
Yeah, thank you. I thought
Then
it was a good drive.
I told Mike I didn't even know he was in the race. He came in last minute, and at the end of the first or second lap, I looked on my relative, and there was Mike Burkhoff. I was like, oh, I guess he made it. Where'd this
He did,
guy
and
come
then
from?
and you had a great, another consistent race, Was. So 2 podiums for you in one night.
Yeah, I was telling Mike I was just a total grandpa on the first lap. I think I was just poking around trying to keep my nose clean.
And where did you qualify again?
Ooh. Is it bad that I don't remember? Like
10th or
6th,
maybe.
maybe
8th?
6th, 8th.
Okay, so
like
you had you pulled some positions. So where did you make the positions? Just other drivers' mistakes, or was it in the pit?
I think it was off the opening lap. That
I
was
think
our first or second lap.
I probably gained 2 or 3 on the first lap, and after it settled down a little bit, I think I gained a couple more. Just like in the first race, people just running off onto the grass. Yeah, just tried to stay on track. It was a little tricky, both races.
Did you have any trouble with your tires towards the end there, either of you guys?
Oh man, it was
the track going towards a greasy surface at the end there.
We were just talking about it. I think we didn't know at the time because we weren't really talking, but I think we were both at about 34 psi on the lefts. Yeah, so it's kind of getting to the point we were I was trying to make that decision whether to change the slicks or not, and saw that the rain wasn't going to stop at all, and it was actually going to start raining more towards the end. And I mean, with like 8 minutes left, I didn't really see the point in changing the slicks. It wasn't going to.
Yeah, and we can tell you that the drivers that did go to slicks actually didn't improve their lap times at all.
Yeah, it was just going to cost me about 30 seconds, and yeah, I didn't really see the point in changing
You made the right call.
Yeah, well, great racing for both of you guys.
Let's hop on board Burkhoff for lap 1, actually, if you have the replay pulled up.
Yeah, I want to see this.
Yeah, it's gonna. I think.
Burkhoff, if you want to walk us through as we pull it up on Twitch here.
Well, can I see it on Discord? I'm not.
Actually, you can. Yes, you can watch from X's Discord as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I wanted to. When me and Waz were just talking, I wanted to make it more of a race with him.
Was that at the race? Was he going back to?
What's that?
Was it race 1 or race 2?
It was still race 2, but it was at the start, which.
Oh, I got you. It's because of the 60 minutes.
I don't. That's.
Yeah, it might not have caught
Yeah,
the
because
first lap.
it's 60 minutes. I think it cuts that first half.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay.
Yeah, I'm almost
Yeah,
positive
it wasn't.
that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, I think you gained what, like 8 positions lap one or something like that. We were, or at least 6 positions. It was a great lap one.
Maybe it's in the highlights.
Yeah, there was a couple of just a couple of accidents and
Yeah, actually, highlights will keep all of lap one.
I was just looking forward to put some pressure on Wasp, but I couldn't do it. My tires were lit up by almost halfway through the race. My tires, left side tires were almost all red.
Yeah, getting top 4 on its own was.
Okay, and so here we have it.
It's funny. I actually remember. I was like, I understand everybody's being careful, but you don't got to go this slow.
Yeah, you split 2 cars right off the bat, and then you start to split a couple more cars through this corner. As we see Trev and another driver have gone off at this point.
And we also got a shout out to the Mercedes traction control engineers because they got some incredible traction control in the Mercedes. That is gonna come in handy in the rain.
And then
so we can see that exit advantage you have is definitely helping you get some nice passes in these opening turns.
I think it's good, but I didn't have any advantage over Wasp when on exit. I actually had the advantage in braking. Like turn 1, I could catch him almost every time in the hard braking zones. But coming on exit, I really didn't have much of an advantage.
Yeah.
Could also be that the mid-engine coming handy for the Ferrari. Because I'm comparing it to other rear front engine cars.
So on lap 2, you went from P18 to P11. That's like the most impressive part that we wanted to throw out there is that you not only did that, but when you were from P11 onward, you were literally just pulling ahead of people, not because they were making like gross errors or off the track. You just kept passing people.
Yeah, it was pure pace pretty much that got you through there. So it's impressive, fun to watch.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was good. It was fun. Towards the end, I was all by myself, just watching my tires go away. But
yeah,
okay.
But you had a fun first half of the race at least.
I was just like, bye tires, see you later.
Yeah. Well, no one else has anything. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Wassam. You guys both did great. I mean, was that P3, P4? Great racing. And also somebody that was in the chat, Raza, finished pretty strongly. I mean, he had some great overtakes, and he was, stayed consistent. Apparently, he put on the dries, so he had to put it up twice. So he did some tire changes there.
He moved somebody out of the way right there. Yeah, but yeah, good time. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank you. And that's the end here, folks. This was the Tracklicious Sim Racing stream team. I was Jay Alvarez. I had Eric Miller with me, and Jet Black, the Tennessee Tornado, Jet Engleman. Appreciate everybody. If you guys want to say, take care as well.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks, y'all. It's been fun.
All right.